Hello and welcome to episode 38 of First Chapter Reads, the podcast where I read the first chapter of an indie book in my Irish brogue and hope that you might just find your next favourite author. You may have noticed a slight difference in this installment of the podcast, as you are possibly right now looking at my big Irish mug. I do apologise for any offence that may cause you, but I have now ventured into the world of BookTube. So if you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, I would encourage you to do so now and help me to please our algorithm overlords. Today's book is The Lost Star Chart by Jeannette Bedard. I picked up this book on a Kickstarter campaign and I'm a big fan of the cover. I love how the title is very much part of the design, and I'm always impressed by covers that manage to look retro and modern at the same time, and I feel that this cover really pulls that off. Let me tell you a little about the author. Always writing, Jeannette has filled hard drives with ones and zeros that occasionally coalesce into books. Her non-linear career path has included working as both a soldier and a scientist, but not at the same time. Currently she lives on a non-tropical island in the Pacific with her husband and daughter, and she loves a good math joke, especially if there is pie involved. I'm just going to read uh, the copy on the back of this, just to give you an idea of the overall book. Uncovering ancient secrets, evading certain death, welcome to Darla's daily grind. Reclusive treasure hunter Darla Oswell is closing in on the relic she covets the most, the lost star chart to old Earth. But she's not the only one who's after it. When she discovers someone planted explosives in her spaceship, it's clear that her life of quiet anonymity is over. But Darla is cunning, curmudgeonly, and perhaps a bit paranoid, traits that have kept her alive in the lawless fringes of the galaxy. To get her relic, she takes on a job that forces her to face her past. Even worse, her newest contact breaches her emotional defenses and makes her care, something she vowed never to do again. With her history haunting her every move and her isolated heart at risk, can Darla stay one step ahead, or will her past finally catch up with her? Chapter 1, Present Day. A pillar of greasy black smoke rose in the windless sky, carrying the acrid stench of roasted electronics and charred plastic. The wisps that reached me made my throat burn. I should have worn a respirator. I let out a ragged sigh. It was too late now, just like it was too late for so many things. The crash side of my once jaunty yellow shuttle painted the only colour on the bleak landscape of this world, a planet whose name I'd already forgotten. The familiar home of that shuttle used to bring me solace, a reminder that I could always escape. Those days were gone. Things had changed. A lump formed in my throat, threatening to bring on tears. I hated change. It's time to move on, I muttered to myself as I tried to compartmentalize my foolish sentimentality. Everything would be different from this moment on. I sighed, attempting to be inconspicuous, and leaned against the rock next to me. They would be along shortly, whoever they were. I glanced around for a better hiding spot. Dusty and cracked, my surroundings offered little. Jagged gravel and grey sky stretched out to the horizon in all directions. This was the dullest planet I'd ever set foot on. No wonder the name of this place never stuck in my brain. My current hiding spot was the best option, so I settled in to wait. It didn't take long. Within a few minutes, a layer of sand, or worse, ash, had made its way inside my mouth. It coated my tongue, teeth, and throat, and it tasted awful. I hated this world almost as much as I hated sacrificing my shuttle. If I looked up hellhole, I'd find a picture of this place, I said to no one. Yeah, I tended to talk to myself because I made better company than most of the morons I came across. But I had to admit, the fire was on me. I'd said it as part of my ruse. I'd even landed hard enough to crumple the port side of the fuselage. My back was going to hurt for days from that piece of deception, but the idiots trying to kill me needed to be convinced they'd succeeded. As if on cue, a second shuttle dropped out of the sky and headed towards my wreckage. And here they are. I hunkered closer to my rock. I recognized the shuttle's make. It was a mid-size, mid-budget model designed to be unremarkable. This one didn't even have its call sign painted on it, against protectorate regulations. But this far off the beaten path, protectorate regulations meant little. Upon landing, two heavily armed people emerged from the shuttle. They searched through the smouldering remains of my own, no doubt hunting for any sign that I'd been on board. Should I have left a biological trace for them to find? Something to convince them I'd died in the crash? Cloak and dagger crap wasn't my thing. I swallowed, knowing it was too late for that anyway. It made no sense to doubt myself. Despite my frequent wishes, I couldn't turn back time and change things. And there were so many things I'd change if I had that power. I bit my lip as I watched the pair of goons from my rocky hiding place. Would they suspect I'd just walked away? They had enough firepower between them to kill me in an instant if they realized what had happened. One goon started surveying the surrounding landscape. Shit, I mouthed, making no sound as I flattened myself as far as I could, which wasn't much in my bulky clothes. I put my hand in my pocket and wrapped my fingers around my emerge blast. The little box was highly illegal, but I didn't like carrying more overt weapons. If I hit the emerge blast button, it would emit an electromagnetic pulse with enough power to fry electronics in about a 10-meter radius. So if the bad folks had blasters, they would suddenly find their weapons useless. As they were left troubleshooting their weapons, I'd run away and hide. I'd never pretended to be brave. As for my electronics, I'd lined all my pockets with what were essentially Faraday cages, meaning my shit was well protected. Then the cavalry arrived, or at least what passed for it in this corner of the universe. A shuttle flew into view, its rusted red hull adorned with a single garish red light twirling around like a bat horn. The local search and rescue squad was here to save the day, or so they thought. But I had to admit their presence should make my survival simpler and more likely. The goon furthest away shouted for his companion, and they promptly rushed back to their unmarked shuttle. I snorted as they took off. They weren't the brightest bulbs in the box. They had enough street smarts to realize when they should get out of the way of the authorities. Hopefully they'd report to their criminal overlords that I was good and dead, ending their attempts on my life. The search and rescue ship landed on the vacated spot next to my destroyed shuttle. Have I mentioned how much I loved that shuttle? My shuttle's call sign and registration number were still visible through the fire, and I'd submitted a proper flight plan, stating that I would be flying solo to this world. The rescue squad would report me as really and truly dead, putting my plan in motion and changing my life forever. Making sure I remained out of view for my rescuers, I stood and began to walk away from them. Uncertainty gripped me as I gazed at the horizon, but there was no turning back. Just yesterday, Doug at the shuttle repair shop, yeah, a lame name, Doug wasn't known for his creativity, had given my ancient shuttle a clean bill of health. After only a quick checkup, he'd said it was ready, which of course had left me suspicious. In the past, he'd always presented me with a long list of needed work, and we'd haggle. This time was different. I knew for a fact there were issues. The right engine ran a little too hot, and a colossal clunk sounded every time I extended the landing gear. Always check the mechanic's work. Even though it had been 19 years since Vi gave me that advice, this time it really paid off. Why would I waste my time? I'd rolled over and locked eyes with her, those captivating dark eyes that had entranced me from our first meeting. Why wouldn't you? You're the pilot and it's your life on the line. She'd smiled, then tapped me on the nose with her finger, and I'd be terribly upset to hear you died because you'd been stupid. I'd snorted then, just as I was snorting now. Take the basic mechanics course. My evenings are better spent here with you, I'd said in a lame attempt at romance. I'd probably even tried to put on a cheesy, seductive expression. Take the course. So I had, and today wasn't the first time that knowledge had saved my life. If I had been right, I'd taken the shuttle into the nearest berth as soon as I'd left Doug's shop, and I'd found the explosives packed into my starboard engine. Doug wasn't creative enough to want to kill me, but someone was, no doubt one of the many criminal factions around. I swallowed. I didn't know who wanted me dead, but hopefully now they thought they'd succeeded. That was chapter one of The Lost Star Chart by Jeannette Bedard. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of First Chapter Reads. I would encourage you to check out this wonderful book by Jeannette, and while you're at it, you could also have a look at my latest release, Cold Blooded. I put the links in the description area for your convenience. I would, as always, ask that if you do read any of these indie books, please leave a review. Indie books only get noticed through reviews, and if you find a treasure out there, make sure you share it with the world. If you enjoyed today's reading, I'd love to hear from you in the comments, and I'm sure it would mean a lot. I'm sure it would mean the world to Jeannette to hear what you thought of her first chapter. Don't forget to subscribe and share as well. God bless. See you all next week.